Hi, I'm Patu from freefincal, and in this video I want to talk about how most of us take a lot of risk in our lives and take our lives for granted. And compared to that, the actual risk of our investments in the stock market is pretty much trivial or very, very small. So, before we talk about taking our life for granted, staying on the topic of investing itself, there are two types of investment risk. The first risk is the actual risk that you see visibly on a day to day basis. That is the price of a commodity moving up or down, the price being affected by demand and supply, and essentially the day-to-day losses or gains. So that is what we usually refer to as risk. Many people say stock market is risky, or many people say last 2 years I got no money in SIPs from my SIP investments, or some people say stock market is like gambling, I won't use it, and so on. That is the risk that they are referring to. But there are a lot of risks. In fact, most of investment risks are latent risks. That is, they are hidden risks. The most common one is credit risk. That is, a company says, I will give you 10% interest or 12% interest. Many people invest in it without understanding that they are giving higher interest than an FD, for example, SBI FD or a post office scheme, because their ability to return the money or and pay interest is questionable. It is because of that they are paying more interest, and people buy that. I've seen senior citizens talk about putting a lot of money in small finance banks, or buy this bond or that finance company or this finance company, but they don't realize that they could lose it all, and they don't understand that credit risk. And the same thing happens in the bond markets as well. When fund managers are unable to sell a bond, or they buy bonds irresponsibly and don't sell it quickly enough. So that is the most common unknown risk. Then there's one more risk which many people don't accept, and they are in denial about it, is liquidity risk. That is, if you can't lock in all your money in PPF or NPS and so on, because if you want some money immediately, you can't get it, and people then they will say, how will people be disciplined? It will force people to invest. It force people to stay invested when there's market crashes and so on. That kind of logic is completely immature, because even though these instruments like PPF, NPS have got exit options, partial exit options for certain specific conditions like critical illness and so on, still there are 108 things in life, or a million things in life, for which you need money suddenly, and you can't lock up all your money and suffer for that. Even people forget NPS, forget PPF, etc. Investing everything in real estate is a problem. You can't sell when you want to, because you will not get the price you want to, and there's a big problem. You have to suffer a big loss and so on. So liquidity is one of the most hidden risks, and people don't understand. There are many hidden risks. I'll talk about that. But what I want to talk about, that is in today's video, sorry, is taking our lives for granted. Forget worrying about the risk in stock market. How many of us cross the road only in signals, only using a subway, only using the overbridge? Many of us, I have seen people cross the road by jumping over the median when there's a signal, when there's a subway right next to them. How many of us go take a ride in the bike without a helmet? They'll say, "I'm just go to the next street. I'm not going to go to the. I'm not going to wear a helmet." I've seen people take a helmet and give it to their girlfriends. They'll be holding it at the back. I don't know what is the use of that. Or they'll put it in the bike handle and drive. And when they see a policeman, they'll wear it. I don't know that people take. And so how many of us break traffic rules on a day-to-day basis? But it has become impossible to ride in India without breaking a traffic rule. In fact, if you follow all the rules, people in the road will start shouting at you. That is the kind of situation we are living in India. The irony is, people who go on a one way, people who ride on the pavement, all these kind of people, if you tell them to invest their money in the stock market, they will say it's gambling. It's too much risky. I will not accept that. Whereas they are gambling with their own lives on a day-to-day basis. And even people who are invested in the stock market gamble their lives in so many ways like this. And when you are taking so much risk, when you're crossing the road when it's not green, you're taking on huge amounts of risk. There are a lot of people who are dependent on you, but you don't care. That moment you think you can do it. Then what is the point in talking about stock market risks and fearing recession, fearing crashes, what will happen to my money? And so it's completely illogical. We take our lives for granted every day, and yet the only thing that matters to us is that up and down movement of the stock market. How logical it is. Let's stop and think. And there are many examples I've written down for not buying health insurance, not buying life insurance. And even for those who buy life insurance, they say, oh, there's a new policy that is cheaper. I am going to get rid of my old policy, which is 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old. I'm going to buy a new policy because premium is cheaper. That is totally dumb. Please understand, if you die the month after you buy the new policy, or even within 3 years after buying a new policy, it will be treated as a fresh claim or a new claim, and that will be subject to much higher scrutiny than your old policy, which will be treated normally. So you just putting your nominees under so much risk, worrying about few thousands. It's just the wrong attitude towards money and towards life itself. And how many of us have not bothered to discuss what we do in money matters with our spouses? How many of our spouses are interested in actually sitting and talking with us, even if we want to discuss? We are all taking our lives for granted. If we die, that's it. What will they do? They don't know where. They don't know how to pay electricity bill, how to pay the internet bill, how to get units from mutual funds back, how to talk to a demat account holder and get the money transferred to your account, whatever, transmission of unit stocks, whatever. All there's so much of work involved. But even if you know all the investments, there's a lot of work involved, and many people don't know what we are doing. And yet we don't do all this, and yet we are worried about market volatility. I mean, it's just illogical, right? That volatility is actually known, it's measurable every day, but the kind of risks that we take every day in life, it's huge. And many of the time we just don't even know that we are taking a risk. That's the problem. Nothing will happen, such things will not happen to me. How many people do that? When suddenly somebody dies, when one of our classmates dies, then we stop, we are just shocked for one or 2 days. Oh my god, this can happen to me. We're just shocked. Then after the third day, everything will become normal. That's not the way we manage our life, manage our money. Everything is interlinked. Health, wealth, happiness, time management, everything is interlinked. Risk management is important. So we have to be logical about the way we handle risk. What is the point in worrying about stock market risk when we are taking so much risk every day? If you are worried about risk, we should be logically handling all the risks, uniformly managing them. But that's one of the biggest ironies of life. I think we have to make sure that we don't take on undue risks, take our lives for granted. That is one thing I knew. I came to know when I got my autoimmune disease. I understood how precious it is, how every moment is precious, and how we must enjoy it. And not take it for granted, and be thankful for everything, every drop of food that we eat, every drop of water that we drink. We must be thankful for it. Just a moment, it won't take a moment, and we must understand it can all be taken away at an instant. And think about risk as well holistically. So that's what I wanted to rant in this video. Thank you for listening. If you have any comments, suggestions, please share below. Thank you. And if you disagree, agree, go ahead and comment. Thank you. Bye bye.